wondering how to create, instead of having chaos in your studio, creating a space, a sanctuary for painting. So I'm going to talk with you. I'm painting my spring cow this time around, and talking with you about how to bring a sense of calm to your studio space so you can get started painting. So welcome, I'm so glad you're here. This is all about helping you, if you have that creative voice, that creative desire inside of you that's just itching to come out and play, this is for you. You're in the right place. So just painting my little spring cow here. And I've got 5 things. I've got my list to remind me of tips to help you create that sanctuary, that space that you can go to and get into your painting and having fun. So the number one thing to do is you can let people know that you're painting. And just giving yourself permission to paint and letting the people know around you that you're going to your creative space and you're going to be painting, so that they know and you're not interrupted. Because once you get into that zone, you really want to stay there, right? It's super fun. So, leaving the distractions outside is really what you want. And in order to do that, you got to let people know that you're heading to your creative space and you're going to be busy doing some other things, and you'll get back to them when you're done. And then once you're there, you want to warn people. So I actually have a sign that I put out in my studio: creativity taking place, do not disturb. So my husband and my kids, they know when I'm in my creative space and this sign is up that they are not to disturb me. This is my time to be creative and to have some me time, and so they're not allowed in unless it's a super, super emergency. They are not allowed in. And then, organizing your space. So I wanted to show you some of the things that I have when I get started painting, and ways that I organize my space so that I can dive right in and get into that flow and have some fun. So I've got my table set up, and I've got a covering on it. It's a canvas that you can find at any hardware store. And I like to use a canvas because I like to get paint on it, and I can reuse it. You can always use a plastic table covering as well, but just, in terms of the environment, I like to use the canvas, and it becomes another thing that I can play with later on. So I use a canvas for my table covering, and I use some hand balm. I like to put some hand balm on because oftentimes I will finger paint. When I get playing, I love to really dive in, and sometimes I'll use my paintbrushes, and other times I use my fingers and do a lot of finger painting. And it's super fun way to paint. And so to protect my hands from the paint, you can check to make sure that it's a non-toxic paint that you're using. But this is just another layer of protection. Some people wear gloves. I prefer to really have that tactile experience and feel the paint swishing around. So this balm, this is a Badger Bee balm, and it's just a nice, thick, oily hand salve that kind of gives me that extra layer of protection. So this is a great way to protect those hands and let yourself still play. I've got a pencil, because sometimes when I'm starting a canvas, I will sketch out my image or my focal point. And so for instance, with this cow, I sketched this out on the canvas before getting started. And so I'll put a pencil out, and I'm only putting the things out that I'm gonna use. So everything else stays away. So, we took a trip to Yellowstone last summer, and my family loves to get out into nature, and we've got a small camper, and so we do a lot of camping. And we were up in Yellowstone, and what's so awesome about our national parks, and we're so fortunate to have these, is that our park rangers will do nightly talks. And so every night I didn't think I would have the energy because after a full day of hiking and exploring Yellowstone, I thought I would be pretty tired. But the ranger talks in the evening were just they just really sparked my curiosity. And we're talking about so many different really cool things with the wolves and bears and the flora. So every night we would walk to the spot, the auditorium, the outside auditorium, where the ranger would hold a little lecture, a little presentation on different topic areas. And so one night we went, and it was really cool because where we were sitting in this amphitheater, we were looking out into this meadow and the river, the Yellowstone River, and there was a huge herd of wild, there are farmed bison, but these were wild bison. And the park ranger kept looking over his shoulder, and I realized like he looked a little worried about something. And I thought, well, should I be worried about something? And as everyone kind of settled in and got their seats, he just kept looking over his shoulder. And then once we got started, he's like, just want to let you know, there's a huge herd of bison right over here behind us. And we were sitting in an amphitheater, so we were in the middle, in these big rows of wooden planks that we were sitting on. And then there was an aisle on both sides of us, and then there was more seating to the left and right. And he said, I just want to let you know, we're sitting out in the wild, so if these bison decide they get the right of way, if they decide that they want to walk on through, then they're going to walk on through. And it's up to you to really push yourselves to the center of where you're sitting, no hands or legs or anything reaching out, and let them come on through. And I thought, wow, and that's just so true. When we apply it to our painting and setting up our studio, we want to let the chaos out, let that go by and not worry about it, and really focus in on what we're doing. And so to do that, we really only want to have what we need out on our table. And whatever our creative space looks like, wherever it is, just making sure we only have what we need for that painting time available to us, so that the other chaos, I have a ton more painting colors, paints and paint brushes and things that I use, but for this time I knew I just wanted to focus in on what I needed for this canvas, so that it's a smoother, more fun process. Okay, so among that, I've got my canvas, I've got my pencil I mentioned, I've got my palette that I'm going to put my paints on and do some color mixing there. I've got my paints. I've got a water jug, a nice big water jug with plenty of water for my paints. I have a paper towel so that I can, when I want to, really get out the wetness and work with more dry brush, I can do that and make sure that whatever color previously I can get out. I do like to work with a heat gun. So this just helped me because sometimes I get impatient and I just want to get to the next step, but that first layer is too wet. Sometimes it's really fun to play with wet on wet colors and smush it around and mix it on the canvas. Other times I really want it to dry and so I can get to the next step of what I'm painting. And so a heat gun is great. If you have a hairdryer, that works just as well because it gives you the heat that you need. The heat gun is unique in that it doesn't push out the air, so it's only heat. You just have to be careful when you're using it that you don't get it too close to the canvas, or else you'll start to kind of burn your paint. Paints are plastic, acrylic paints are plastic, so that can bubble up if you are getting too close to your canvas and your paint. So you want to be careful of that. The other thing I wanted to share was, let's see, I've got my color wheel. My color wheel is helpful. I refer back to this to make sure that I am using colors that work well together and I don't turn my canvas into a big brown muddy mess. So this is super helpful and I have that handy. The fourth thing, so that was the third thing, is organizing your space and keeping it so that you just have what you need. The fourth thing I wanted to share with you is, make yourself comfortable. I love to have a beverage by my side. I'm often sipping tea. If it's in the evening, might have a glass of wine. It's always nice. So just make yourself comfy and pull that whatever you need out to do that. For me, it's a nice pot of tea at times, or a glass of wine. So and then the fifth thing is set the mood. So if if music helps set you into the mood, then put on your favorite tunes, and that'll help you kind of loosen up and have some more fun at the canvas. So, getting back to our park ranger, he really, reminded me when he said, just let those bison go through. They're going to do what they want to do because they're wild. We need to do that for ourselves, right? When we come to our creative space, we need to make it a safe place to hang out and know that we're not going to be distracted, that we can totally focus in on our painting. And so to do that, we let the people know around us that, hey, we're going to our creative space. We're taking some studio time, some me time, and we're going to go play for a while, and we don't want to be disturbed. And so often those people are going to respect that and honor that, when you're letting people know. And then, warn people once you're in there. So I've got my studio sign that says, hey, I'm in my studio space, I'm creating, I'm diving in, I'm totally focused, and I don't want to be disturbed right now. And then organizing your space, so really just pulling out those things that you need, right? And then making yourself comfy with whatever that might be, if you like to have a beverage with you, and then really setting the mood. So playing some music. I love painting to music, and I find it just puts me in the mood of letting loose and kind of playing along with the music, whatever that might be. So thanks for joining me. If you find this helpful, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, pass it along. And if you'd like to know the step-by-step process that I use for painting, I have a free tutorial available. The link for that is in the description, so go ahead and download that today. I think you'll have a lot of fun with that. It's a really fun tutorial. And anything else? I think that's it. So have a great day, and I will see you next time at the canvas. All right, bye for now.